Hi, I'm Terry, and I'm nuts about stamping. I'm back today with another Sundays with Sizzix project. It's this greeting card that I created using my Big Shot. Here are the products I used. Along with my Big Shot and my platform, I used my 2 standard cutting pads, and I'd like to introduce to you a large Sizzlitz die. It's called Paper Doily, and it is featured on page 7 of the Occasions mini catalog. There it is right there. I also used my 2.5-inch circle punch. For cardstock, I used crumb cake and not quite navy. I used my Stampin' Dimensionals, my 2-way glue pen, my snail adhesive. I used my crumb cake ink and my not quite navy Stampin' Right marker. I used my paper piercing tool and my mat. And for my stamp sets, I used a brand new stamp set in the Occasions mini catalog. It's called Loving Hearts. And I also used my medallion stamp set. And because my Loving Thoughts stamp set is clear mount, I used clear mount B, or clear block B, sorry. I think that's it. I'll be back in a moment and I'll show you how to create the doily decorative detail for the front of the card. Back in a moment. All right, I have things set up, and the first thing you want to do is to take your medallion stamp and you want to ink it up with crumb cake ink and stamp it down on the piece of crumb cake cardstock that you are going to run through the Big Shot. You don't really worry, you don't have to worry about being too perfect with your inking up techniques. Whoops, sorry. And you just want to stamp it down. There we go. And again, you don't have to worry about it being perfect because it's going to be run through the Big Shot next. So let me bring in my Big Shot. And here is your sandwich. You have your platform on tab 1. You've got your bottom standard cutting pad. Then you want to put your doily die on top. Then you're going to take your cardstock that you've stamped and lay it face down on top of the doily. Then your top standard cutting pad. Now, because there are so many intricate cutouts of this doily die, you're going to have to play with yours a little bit to see what works best for you. What I'm going to do is show you a tip that Stampin' Up! Said, and that was to put just another cardstock shim on top and then run it through. You want to run it through slowly, and that way it can cut out all the intricate details. You really have to put some muscle into it. It's better when I'm standing up. There we go. There we go. Woo! All right, everything slid off my Big Shot. But there it is there. And so let me give you a close-up shot of that. Okay? And then what you want to do is if you just roll it gently, you can see what happens is all the little pieces start to fall out, which is what you want. I did mine, my first one, over a trash can, and all the little pieces, the little confetti pieces fell into the trash for me. But you just roll it back and forth, poke out, and then you are going to get to a point where you're going to have to bring in some kind of an implement to get all the remaining pieces out. So what I did was I brought in my paper piercing tool and I just poked out the tinier pieces. Okay? Now let me bring back in my original. So I've got that. I used my 2.5-inch circle punch to punch a scrap piece of not quite navy out, and then I adhered it to the back of the doily using my 2-way glue pen. And then my card base is my card base is crumb cake. It used to be called craft, now it's called crumb cake. And then I have a layer of not quite navy and another layer of crumb cake on top of that. I inked up the Inspire stamp using my Not Quite Navy marker and stamped it down there. And then to adhere, the other thing I did was I took one of my antique brads and my paper piercing tool and poked it through both the doily and the Not Quite Navy circle that's adhered to it already, and opened that up on the other side. And then I adhered the whole doily piece to my card front using some Stampin' Dimensionals. And that's it. For a complete listing of the supplies I used and the measurements for the cardstock, please pop over to my blog, www.nutzaboutstamping.com. While on my blog, you can ask me a question through the Contact Me button. You can place an order. I have a little shopping cart there that you can click on and go and place an online order. You can cruise through my blog for lots of other samples, or you can subscribe to my monthly newsletter. I'm Terry. I'm nuts about stamping. See you next time. Bye for now.